Have you ever stood in your kitchen, staring at ingredients, and thought, I have no idea what to do with these? Today, Sophia and I are going to change that. By the end of this video, you'll know the key skills, words, and tricks to start cooking at home with confidence. Let's start with something really important. A lot of people want to cook at home more, but they feel overwhelmed before they even begin. And honestly, the biggest mistake most beginners make is trying to do too much at once.
Oh, I totally relate to that. I once tried to make a 3-course meal on a Tuesday night and ended up ordering pizza.
Classic. So the first thing I always tell people is, start with simple techniques. A technique, by the way, is just a method or skill you use when cooking, like chopping, boiling, or frying.
So rather than learning a complicated recipe right away, you focus on how to actually do things in the kitchen?
Exactly. And one of the most essential techniques is knife skills. That just means how you hold and use a knife safely and efficiently. Good knife skills make everything faster and safer.
I actually hurt my finger once trying to chop an onion too quickly. Lesson learned.
We've all been there. The key is to curl your fingers under, like a little claw, so the blade can't slip and cut you. It sounds small, but once you get it, chopping feels so much smoother.
Okay, so we've got technique as our first big idea. What's next?
Next is understanding heat. This is something a lot of home cooks underestimate. Different foods need different levels of heat, and knowing when to turn it up or down is what separates a good cook from a great one.
Can you give an example? Like, what happens if the heat is wrong?
Sure. Think about scrambled eggs. If your pan is too hot, the eggs cook too fast and go rubbery. But if you keep the heat low and gentle, they come out soft and creamy. It's the same ingredient, totally different result.
Wow, I never thought about it that way. So the heat is almost as important as the ingredient itself?
Sometimes even more important. And this connects to a really useful word, sear. To sear something means to cook it quickly on very high heat to create a browned, crispy outside. Think of a steak with that golden crust on the outside, but still juicy inside.
Oh, like when you hear that loud sizzle when the meat hits the pan?
Exactly that sound. That sizzle tells you the heat is right and the searing is happening. If there's no sizzle, your pan isn't hot enough yet.
I love that. Okay, so we have knife skills and understanding heat. What's the third big idea?
The third one is seasoning, and I don't just mean salt and pepper. Seasoning means adding flavors to your food to make it taste balanced and delicious. It includes herbs, spices, acids like lemon juice or vinegar, and yes, salt.
Why is salt such a big deal? I always hear chefs talk about it.
Salt does something almost magical. It doesn't just make food salty. It actually brings out the natural flavors that are already there. Without enough salt, even a beautiful dish can taste flat and dull.
So, underseasoned food is basically hiding its own flavor?
That's a great way to put it. And here's an idiom that fits perfectly. Good seasoning is the secret ingredient. It just means that the thing no one sees, in this case proper seasoning, is often what makes the biggest difference.
I like that. So, how do you know when something is seasoned enough?
You taste as you go. That's actually a really important habit. Tasting throughout the cooking process, not just at the end. Every time you add something, give it a little taste and ask yourself, does it need more salt, more acid, more depth?
That makes so much sense. I used to wait until the dish was done and then panic because something was missing.
Most home cooks do that at first, and the fix is easy once you know it. Now, let's talk about something that goes hand in hand with seasoning, mise en place. This is a French phrase, pronounced mise en place, and it means having everything prepared and in place before you start cooking.
So like chopping all your vegetables, measuring your spices, getting your pans ready, all before you turn on the stove?
Precisely. Mise en place is what professional chefs swear by. When everything is ready ahead of time, you can focus on the actual cooking instead of scrambling around looking for the garlic while your onions burn.
That is such a me problem. I'm always digging through the pantry with something boiling over on the stove.
We've all done it, but once you build the habit of mise en place, your whole cooking experience gets calmer and more enjoyable. You feel in control rather than stressed.
Okay, I want to make sure I'm getting all of these. So far, we have knife skills, understanding heat, seasoning, and mise en place. That's already so much useful stuff.
And there's one more I want to bring in, and it's a phrasal verb. The phrase is build up. In cooking, we say you build up layers of flavour. That means you add things gradually, one at a time, so the flavours get deeper and more complex as the dish cooks.
Like when you fry garlic and onions first before adding other things?
Exactly. You're building a flavour base, and that base, those first flavours you cook, becomes the foundation that everything else sits on. It's like building a house. You wouldn't start with a roof.
That's such a good analogy. So you never dump everything in at once?
Generally, no. Different ingredients need different cooking times, and they each contribute something different. Adding them in the right order is part of the craft.
And I guess this connects back to understanding heat, right? Because you're controlling what happens at every stage.
Beautifully said. All of these ideas connect. Knife skills, heat, seasoning, mise en place, building up flavour. They work together as a system. Once you understand each piece, cooking becomes much less mysterious.
And honestly, much less stressful. I feel like I used to think cooking was just about following a recipe, word for word.
So many people think that. But a recipe is just a guide. The real skill is understanding why each step exists. And that understanding comes from these core techniques.
So let me also just check. That phrasal verb, build up, means to increase or develop something gradually.
That's it, exactly. You can use it in lots of situations. Build up confidence, build up a savings account, build up flavour. Very flexible.
Love a good versatile phrase. And what about a vocabulary word we haven't covered yet? You mentioned herbs and spices earlier. Is there a useful word there?
Great catch! Let's talk about marinate. To marinate means to soak your food, usually meat, but also vegetables, in a liquid mixture of seasoning before you cook it. That liquid is called a marinade.
And why does that help?
2 reasons. First, it adds flavour deep into the food, not just on the surface. Second, the acids in the marinade, like lemon juice or vinegar, help tenderise the food, which means make it softer and easier to chew.
So a chicken that's been marinated overnight is going to taste very different from one you cook right away.
Night and day difference. Marinating is one of those techniques that takes almost no effort, but gives you dramatically better results. You just mix, soak, and wait.
That sounds like my kind of cooking.
Right? And to finish with one more great word, let's talk about garnish. A garnish is a small, decorative, and often flavorful addition you put on top of a dish right before serving. Think of a sprinkle of fresh herbs, a slice of lemon, or a drizzle of olive oil.
Is a garnish just for looks, or does it actually change the taste?
Both! A good garnish adds a fresh pop of flavour and makes the dish look inviting. We eat with our eyes first, after all. That bright green parsley on a bowl of soup isn't just pretty, it also adds a little freshness to each bite.
So the last thing you do before serving can actually lift the whole dish.
Exactly, and that's a nice way to think about cooking in general. Every small step matters. The knife skills, the heat, the seasoning, the prep, the layering, the finishing touch. It all adds up.
Okay, let's do a quick recap before we go to practice. We covered knife skills, managing heat, seasoning, mise en place, and marinating. Plus, we learned to build up layers of flavor and finish with a garnish.
And the big lesson underneath all of it. Good cooking is about understanding why, not just following instructions. When you know the reason behind each step, you can adapt, improvise, and make any recipe your own.
That is such a useful mindset shift. Thanks, Emma. I feel like I actually want to go cook something right now.
That's exactly the goal. All right, let's make sure all of this sticks. We've got a few practice questions coming up to help you lock in what you just learned.
What does the word technique mean in cooking? If you sear a piece of meat, what are you doing? What does mise en place mean, and why is it helpful? Complete this sentence with the correct phrasal verb. A good cook knows how to layers of flavor. Build up. You build up layers of flavor by adding ingredients one at a time. What is a marinade, and what does it do to food?
Great work on those practice questions. Now let's wrap up with a quick word from both of us.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. Learning to cook at home is one of the best things you can do for your health, your wallet, and honestly, your happiness.
And the fact that you're learning English at the same time makes you doubly impressive. Keep going. Every video, every word, every sentence brings you closer to fluency.
This is Sophia.
And I'm Emma. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe so you never miss a new one. We'd love to have you back.
Keep practicing your English, keep experimenting in the kitchen, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.